Alright, so today I want to show you my albino pied ball python. I actually have a 4-year-old male that I still haven't named. I'm actually going to name him today. I'm slowly going through all my snakes one by one and giving them names. It's kind of crazy. And after I name that ball python, I want to jump over to some of my hatchlings that have just hatched out. Some of them have just shed for the first time and they look super bright and flashy, pretty amazing. And these hatchlings, I think there's still some debate as far as the genetics and exactly what they are, but I actually have a super pastel. I'm pretty sure it's just a super pastel, and that thing is really crazy looking, super bright and flashy. So let's jump over and check out this albino pied ball python. Alright, so take a look at this crazy snake. That is really crazy. That is my albino pied ball python. Take a look at how beautiful this guy is. This is a double recessive. This is an albino and a pied. And kind of the crazy thing about this is if you actually take this and you breed it to a normal or something else like that, you'll actually get normal looking snakes that are double het for albino and pied. So you really can't reproduce it unless you breed it to either hets or visuals. As a matter of fact, I actually bred this one to my albino het pied. I actually have an albino het pied female that has been fasting for a really long time if I could ever breed her again, and I actually produced a visual albino pied female. Whoa, this guy is super head shy. He's like super shocking head shy. It's kind of funny. Some of these ball pythons like Bobby, I can mess with his head and he's not head shy at all. And like this one, you just get close to his head and he kind of jumps. And it's, I think a lot of it is just a lot of handling and a lot of, you know, touching them right on the head that really kind of calms them down and helps them to get over their head shyness. But this one is a super high white. Look at how much white it has. Has just a little bit of color on the tail and a little bit right here. And kind of the interesting thing about this is they really fade out as they age and mature. So this spot right here, when he was young, it was like a super high contrast and super bright, and it's really faded since. Look at that. I didn't even get near his head. This one is not used to being handled, let me tell you. He is super jumpy, boy. And I actually bred this one to my my clown, so I got the triple head albino pied clowns. So with that combination, I can actually produce albinos, I could produce pieds, I could produce albino pieds like this, or the albino pied clowns. As a matter of fact, if I produce an albino pied clown male, I'll probably hold that one back and breed it like to an axanthic or something and go for the quadruple hets, which is pretty awesome. Of course, those snakes are really young. It's going to be a couple years before I can actually breed them, but I actually held back 3 females and 1 male of the triple het albino pied clown. I bred this to quite a few different snakes. I bred this to some pinstripes and some lemon blasts, and you get, essentially what you get is you get pinstripes that are double het for albino pieds. And kind of the weird thing about the hets that I found on pretty much all through my collection is if you actually get any snake that is double het for albino and pied, it is super aggressive as a hatchling. It's when they're really small, especially when you get them to that stage where they, you know, pretty much transition from like a live mouse hopper over to like a frozen thaw. They are super aggressive eaters. They will just kind of jump out of the tub after that rat. It's pretty amazing. As a matter of fact, I probably took the most bites from my double het albino pieds. For some reason, you just get some genes together and they just kind of go crazy. With, you know, sometimes, you know, especially if you have pieds, it seems like the pieds are really super picky eaters, not that aggressive at all as far as, you know, being, you know, kind of snippy and, you know, actually going after their food. And then if you actually have the double hets albino pied, for some reason they're really good eaters, but they seem like they're really snappy. And then eventually, of course, like all ball pythons, they grow out of it and they become perfectly gentle, placid animals. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pick a name out of the jar and see if we can give this guy a name. So his new name, finally, after all this time, his new name is Skipper. All right, take a look at this crazy snake. This is the one that just hatched out my very first clutch. Take a look at the crazy color and pattern on this one. Well, I'm pretty sure this one is just a super pastel, 100% het desert ghost, and it could have calico in it. A lot of people are saying that the little bit of orange on the side might be an indication of calico. Look at how crazy that thing is. That is a really wild looking snake, really kind of crazy. I've never really seen, you know, I've actually had some pastels and some super pastels hatch out, but I've never really had one with really a lot of the white in the background like that one. That is really crazy. Good looking snake. And a lot of the super pastels actually have a washed out head, and usually they have a pretty clear belly. And this one just came out of the egg, hasn't had a single meal yet, just shed. And usually it's really hard to tell their true color until they shed for the first time. So I'm thinking, you know, there's been a lot of debate as far as exactly what this is. So, you know, I was thinking at first some of these could be visual desert ghosts, because I thought maybe I actually had like one copy of the desert ghost in my female, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm thinking more this might just be a super pastel, maybe calico, 100% head desert ghost. Look at that crazy snake. That is really wild. So here's another one that just shed out. This is a pastel. I know for sure it's a pastel. There's been a lot of discussion on a lot of these, and a lot of people are saying that the red on the side could be calico, because it's possible calico. So the possible genes in here are pastel or super pastel, calico, or Enchi. And it looks like this one is reduced a little bit, but I'm thinking the reduction on this one is probably just due to the pastel. Really doesn't look like there's Enchi in there. Some people are saying there's calico, but I don't know. I've seen that in lemon blasts that I've produced. A lot of times they'll have like a red side, and then as they age and mature, it'll kind of fade away. So I'm thinking this is just a pastel, maybe calico. And some of this pattern up on top almost looks Enchi-like. Some of these are really hard to say, but usually what I do is identify, you know, kind of the breeding pair, and I tell people, you know, these are the possible genes that could be in the snake, but I'm pretty sure that this is just a pastel. All right, so here is another one. I actually had 3 of them shed out, and 3 of them haven't shed yet. You really can't tell the true color until they shed. And this one is definitely an Enchi. You can definitely see his pattern is reduced, and he doesn't really have any, a little bit, actually, if you actually look at this one, he still has a little bit of orange on the side. That seems to be pretty typical that a lot of your hatchlings have a little orange. Not quite sure if that could be calico. Usually with a really high expression calico, it's pretty obvious. And some people say you have to really wait till it ages and matures a bit before you can really see the calico. But this guy is 100% head desert ghost. Usually there's no indicator as far as looking on the belly for desert ghost. Although this one kind of has a crazy belly. Take a look at that. That is interesting. Look at how tiny this one is. Super tiny little hatchling. You know, sometimes I've actually produced hatchlings about half this size, and sometimes if you get them really too small, sometimes they won't eat, and you have to actually assist feed some of those hatchlings. And sometimes if you don't assist feed the first few meals on some of your hatchlings, sometimes it could be problematic. But last year I didn't actually have to assist feed any of them. I finally got them all on food. I thought I was going to have to do an assist feeding video. As a matter of fact, a lot of people are asking if I could do an assist feed video, and I actually didn't do one because I didn't have to assist feed. But a lot of people were saying on the Enchis, which is kind of interesting, that the head stripe is a little bit different than your normals. If you actually take a look, if I can actually show you the head stripe, it looks like it's a little bit thicker in the back of the stripe, and it doesn't come all the way back and connect to the head. Some people are saying you can actually identify Enchi and Enchi combos by the shape and the pattern and how the head stripe goes around the eyes. So I thought that was kind of interesting. All these little tiny details you can look at. This one actually has a little black line right under the eye too. If you can actually see, kind of comes down right by his mouth. Sometimes you can see these little tiny kind of markers or indicators, especially in combos, they can be really useful. But you know, with this pattern, it's pretty obvious on this one. This is a really nice looking Enchi. So there you have it. That is an update on my albino pied, and I think Skipper is a good name. Fits him pretty well. And those hatchlings look pretty awesome. It's amazing the difference between before they shed and after they shed. It's like a night and day difference. And I still have 3 more hatchlings in that clutch. It was actually 6 hatchlings that hatched out of those 6 eggs. It was pretty amazing. As a matter of fact, it was a 10-egg clutch, and 4 of them went bad because the female was egg bound for quite a while, which was kind of unfortunate. But luckily we got 6 hatchlings out, and we got 3 that shed out. So when those last 3 shed, I'll be sure to give you an update on those. That'll be pretty awesome to see some of those. And those were the big question mark. The last 3, we thought maybe they had cinnamon in it. Maybe, as a matter of fact, someone actually mentioned they thought maybe I had fire in my Pastel Enchi Desert Ghost that were giving them the lighter color. As a matter of fact, they actually showed me some combinations over on Morphmarket that had fire in the mix, and they looked really close. It'd be interesting to actually keep them and prove them out and see exactly what's going on with some of those hatchlings. So that is pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.